If you have prediabetes or type 2 diabetes, there are 3 foods sitting in your kitchen right now that you think are helping your blood sugar, but they're actually making things worse. And the third one, it's going to blow your mind because it's a food that's literally marketed to people with diabetes, and it might be sabotaging your progress without you even knowing it. I'm Diana. I'm a registered dietitian, a certified diabetes care and education specialist, and I have my master's in nutrition science. And today I'm going to show you exactly what these 3 foods are, why they're a problem, and what you should be eating instead. Let's dive in. And please stick around for number 3 because once you understand what's really going on, it's going to change everything. But before I go on, if you would like our checklist that goes over the top 10 lifestyle habits to implement today to reverse insulin resistance and type 2 diabetes, then just comment the word checklist below and we'll send it to you right away. It's completely free and full of tons of really helpful information for you to get started right away. Okay, number 1 is yogurt. Now, before you click away thinking I've lost my mind, hear me out, because I'm not saying all yogurt is bad. I'm saying the yogurt that most people are actually buying is a problem. Walk into any grocery store and look at the yogurt aisle. It's massive, and almost every single container has words like light or low fat or fruit plastered all over it. It looks healthy. Your doctor probably even told you to eat more yogurt for the probiotics and protein. But here's what no one's telling you. Most flavored yogurts are loaded with added sugar. Let me give you some real examples. A single cup of Yoplait original strawberry yogurt has 13 grams of added sugar. That's more than 4 teaspoons of sugar in one little container. Dannon fruit on the bottom, some of these have 12 grams of added sugar per serving. That fruit at the bottom isn't fresh fruit. It's basically fruit jam, which is fruit cooked down with a ton of added sugar. Even some of the Greek yogurts that are marketed as healthier options like Chobani Flip or certain flavored Fage yogurts can have anywhere between 14 to 20 grams of added sugar. Now here's why this matters so much if you're trying to control your blood sugar. When you eat that much sugar in one sitting, your blood sugar spikes fast, really fast. And then your pancreas has to pump out a massive amount of insulin to try to bring it back down. And if you're insulin resistant, which is happening in prediabetes and type 2 diabetes, that insulin isn't working efficiently. So your blood sugar stays elevated longer. And every single time that happens, you're reinforcing the cycle. More sugar, more insulin, more resistance. It's like you're trying to put out a fire by pouring gasoline on it. So what should you do instead? Simple. Buy plain, unsweetened Greek yogurt. That's it. Plain is the magic word. A cup of plain Greek yogurt has about 6 grams of naturally occurring sugar from lactose, and that's totally fine. Your body handles that differently than tons of added sugar. Plus, plain Greek yogurt can have anywhere between 15 to 20 grams of protein in a cup, which actually helps stabilize your blood sugar levels. Now, if you want to add sweetness, do it yourself. Throw in some fresh berries, blueberries, strawberries, raspberries. Berries are packed with fiber and antioxidants that actually help support insulin sensitivity. You can add a sprinkle of cinnamon, which has been shown in studies to help with blood sugar control, or toss in a few chopped walnuts or almonds for healthy fat and crunch. Now that's a blood sugar friendly breakfast. The strawberry yogurt with the cute packaging, that's more of a dessert disguised as a health food. All right, the next food on the list is even sneakier because it's sitting in the health food aisle. It's got words like whole grain and natural all over the box, and millions of people are eating it every single day thinking they're making a smart choice. And then number 3, I'm telling you right now, is going to completely change the way you think of an entire category of food. So keep watching. Okay, number 2 are cereal bars and granola bars. This one makes me so frustrated because these bars are marketed as the perfect healthy snack. They've got pictures of oats and honey and nuts on the front. Words like good source of fiber and made with whole grains. They're in the health food section. They look like exactly what you should be eating, but when you flip them over and actually read the label, most of these bars are basically candy bars but with better PR. And let me show you what I mean. Nature Valley Oats and Honey Granola Bars, one of the most popular granola bars in America, and that pack has 11 grams of added sugar. And if you look at the ingredient list, the second ingredient is sugar. And later on, there's also honey and brown sugar syrup. So you've got oats held together by 3 different types of sugar. What about Quaker Chewy granola bars? The chocolate chip flavor has 11 grams of added sugar per bar. The s'mores flavor, 13 grams. Kind bars market themselves as a healthier option, and some of their bars are better than others, but a Kind dark chocolate cherry cashew bar has 7 grams of added sugar. And then you've got the ones that are specifically marketed for breakfast, like Nutri-Grain bars. A single Nutri-Grain strawberry bar has 12 grams of added sugar and barely any protein or fiber to slow down the absorption of that sugar. And here's what happens when you eat one of these bars. That sugar hits your bloodstream fast. Your blood sugar spikes. Your pancreas scrambles to produce insulin. And then about an hour later, you crash. You're tired. You're hungry again. And you're reaching for another snack. And if you're insulin resistant, every one of those spikes is asking your already overworked pancreas to pump out even more insulin. So what should you eat instead? If you need a grab-and-go snack, look for something with low added sugar, ideally under 5 grams. Also provides protein and fiber. A handful with almonds with a small apple also is a great snack. Some string cheese with baby carrots, a hard-boiled egg with some cherry tomatoes. If you want some more snack ideas, definitely check out the video I made about the topic where I go over some of the best snacks if you have type 2 diabetes. And if you really want a bar, read that label carefully. More on this later. Look for bars where the added sugar is in the single digits and the protein is at least 10 grams. Brands like RX Bar tend to be better options, but you still need to check the label every single time. The front of the package is marketing, the back of the package is the truth. So always read the back. Okay, now we're at number 3, and I saved this one for last because it's hands down the most surprising thing I'm going to tell you today. This is a food, actually, an entire category of food that is specifically marketed to people with prediabetes and type 2 diabetes. People are buying these products in bulk, thinking they're doing everything right. And on the surface, the logic makes perfect sense. But there's a hidden problem that almost nobody is talking about. And when I explain the science, you're going to understand more what's going on in your body and why your blood sugar may not be improving the way you thought it would. So number 3 are keto products. So keto cookies, keto ice cream, keto bread, keto brownies, keto cereal, keto snack bars. You get it. The keto product industry is absolutely massive right now. And I completely understand why people with type 2 diabetes are drawn to them. The logic seems airtight. Type 2 diabetes means high blood sugar. Carbs raise blood sugar. Keto products are low carb, so keto products must be good for diabetes, right? Well, not so fast. Here's what most people don't realize. Yes, these products are low in carbs, and yes, eating fewer refined carbs, processed carbs, can help lower our blood sugar in the short term. I'm not arguing with that. But here's the problem. When food companies take out the carbs, they have to replace them with something to make the product taste good and have the right texture. And what do they replace them with? Fat, specifically saturated fat, and a lot of it. Let me give you some real examples. Rebel Keto Ice Cream, which is one of the most popular ice cream brands, a single serving can have 16 to 18 grams of fat, with 10 to 12 grams of that being saturated fat. That's more saturated fat than a McDonald's cheeseburger. Keto cookies from brands like Fat Snacks or Chipmunk, some of them pack 12 to 15 grams of saturated fat into just 2 cookies. Keto bread often uses butter, coconut oil, and palm oil as primary ingredients. All of those are very high in saturated fat. Now you might be thinking, okay, so what? At least it's not spiking my blood sugar. And that's where we need to talk about what's actually causing your blood sugar problems in the first place. Because high blood sugar is a symptom. It's not the root cause. The root cause of type 2 diabetes is insulin resistance. So let me explain this in a way that makes sense. So think of insulin like a key, and your cells have a lock on the door. Insulin's job is to unlock the cell so glucose can get inside and be used for energy. When you're insulin sensitive, meaning everything's working the way it should, insulin turns a key, the door opens, glucose goes in, and your blood sugar stays nice and stable. But when you're insulin resistant, it's like the lock is rusty. The key doesn't turn as easily, so glucose can't get into the cells efficiently. It builds up in your bloodstream, and that's what shows up as high blood sugar when you check your meter. Now, here's the part that most people don't know. Research has shown that eating too much saturated fat can actually make that lock rustier. It worsens insulin resistance. There was a study called the CANMU trial, a randomized controlled trial with over 160 adults. They found that people who ate a diet higher in saturated fat had a 10 to 13% reduction in insulin sensitivity compared to people who ate healthier fats. And that happened in just 3 months. Another study published in the Journal of Clinical Investigation found that diets high in saturated fat reduced insulin sensitivity by up to 35% in some individuals. So what's happening at the cellular level? When you eat a lot of saturated fat, especially the kind found in butter, coconut oil, palm oil, red and processed meats, dairy, it leads to a buildup of certain fat molecules inside your muscle and liver cells. And here's the problem. These molecules actually interfere with insulin signaling. They block the pathway that insulin uses to tell the cell to open up and let glucose in. So what's happening is this. You're eating a keto cookie thinking you're helping your blood sugar because it's low carb, but the saturated fat in that cookie is quietly making your insulin resistance worse behind the scenes. Your blood sugar might look okay today, but over time, the underlying problem, the rusty lock, is getting rustier. And this is especially true for people who are already overweight or insulin resistant. Research shows that these individuals are more susceptible to the insulin damaging effects of saturated fat. Now, I want to be very clear about something. I am not saying all fat is bad. Fat is essential. Your body needs it. But the type of fat matters enormously. Studies consistently show that replacing saturated fat with unsaturated fats like olive oil, avocado, nuts, seeds, fatty fish is associated with improved insulin sensitivity. It's not about going low fat. It's choosing the right fats. So if you're someone with prediabetes or type 2 diabetes and you've been loading up on keto products thinking you're doing the right thing, I need you to hear this. Lowering your refined ultra-processed carbs is only half the equation. If you're replacing those carbs with tons of saturated fat, you might be lowering your blood sugar on the surface while making the root cause worse underneath. That's not reversal. That's a band-aid solution. True reversal means restoring insulin sensitivity. It means fixing the rusty lock so your body can handle carbs again, not just avoiding them forever. Now, before we wrap up, I want to empower you with some practical information. I want you to be your own food detective. And I want to teach you how to read nutrition labels, especially when it comes to those specific nutrients we talked about today. So stop trusting the front of the package. The front is marketing, the back is the truth. So step one is flip the package over. Ignore the front. I don't care if it says all natural or heart healthy or doctor recommended. The front of the package is designed by our marketing team. The back is regulated by the FDA. That's where the truth lives. Step two, look at the serving size. This is where a lot of people get tripped up. A package might look like it's one serving, but when you check the label, maybe it's actually 2 or 3 servings. So before you look at any other number, check the serving size. Because if a granola bar says it has 10 grams of sugar per serving, but the package contains 2 servings, you're actually eating 20 grams of sugar if you're eating the whole thing. So step 3 is to find the total carbohydrates. This is the big number you need to pay attention to if you're managing your blood sugar. Total carbs includes everything from starch, sugar, fiber. Now, right underneath total carbs, you're going to see a few things indented. One of them is dietary fiber. One of them is total sugars, which includes added and naturally occurring sugar. And then underneath total sugars, you'll see added sugars indented. This is where it gets important. Step 4, look at those added sugars. This is what we want to keep to a minimum. Added sugars are sugars added to food during processing. This is the number you really want to watch. According to the American Heart Association, women should have no more than 25 grams of added sugar per day. That's about 6 teaspoons. And men should have no more than 36 grams per day. And that's about 9 teaspoons. But here's the thing. If you have prediabetes or type 2 diabetes, you want to aim even lower. Ideally, you want to keep your added sugars under 15 to 20 grams per day or as close to 0 as possible. So when you're looking at a food label, ask yourself, how much of my daily limit is this one food taking up? If a yogurt has 18 grams of added sugar, that's almost your entire day's worth in 1 cup of yogurt. That's a problem. If a granola bar has 12 grams of added sugar, that's more than half your daily intake in 1 snack. Also a problem. A good rule of thumb, look for foods with less than 5 grams of added sugar per serving. Ideally, you want it as close to 0 as possible. And lastly, step 5, look at the saturated fat. Remember what we just talked about with keto products? Saturated fat can worsen insulin resistance. The American Heart Association recommends limiting saturated fat to no more than 5 to 6% of your total daily calories. For most people, that's about 13 grams per day if you're eating about 2,000 calories in in a day. So when you're looking at a label, check the saturated fat. If one serving has 10 or 12 grams of saturated fat, that's almost your entire day worth in one food. That's too much. A good rule of thumb is to look for foods with less than 2 to 3 grams of saturated fat per serving. And let me put this all together with a real example. Let's say you're standing in the grocery store looking at 2 different yogurts. Yogurt A is Yoplait Original Strawberry. It contains about 13 grams of added sugar, 1 gram of saturated fat, and 5 grams of protein. Now the saturated fat isn't bad, but the added sugar is pretty high. Then we have yogurt B, plain Greek yogurt. Added sugar is 0 grams, saturated fat is 0 grams, protein is 16 grams. Which one would you choose? Yogurt B every single time. It has 0 added sugar, it has more than triple the protein, and it's not going to spike your blood sugar. If you want to add sweetness, throw in half a cup of fresh berries. That'll add about 7 grams of natural sugar, but it also adds 2 grams of fiber and a ton of antioxidants. And you're still way better off than the flavored yogurt. Here's your cheat sheet for reading labels. Added sugar, less than 5 grams per serving. Aim for under 15 to 20 grams per day total, ideally 0 if you can. Saturated fat, less than 2 to 3 grams per serving. Aim for under 13 grams per day total. Remember, the front of the package doesn't matter. The label on the back is what matters. That's where the truth is. Here's the bottom line. A lot of the foods that are marketed as healthy or even marketed specifically for people with diabetes are not what they seem. Flavored yogurt is loaded with sugar. Granola bars are glorified candy bars, and keto products might be low carb, but they're packed with the kind of fat that can make insulin resistance worse over time. The real path to getting your blood sugar control isn't about buying special products. It's about understanding what's actually going on in your body, insulin resistance, and making the changes that address the root cause. Now, if you want a simple step-by-step checklist that lays out the top 10 things to do to start reversing your insulin resistance and type 2 diabetes, comment checklist below. It's completely free. I'll send it your way as soon as you comment checklist. If this video helped you, please hit that like button. It helps more people see this, and subscribe if you haven't already. We put out new videos every week breaking down the science of blood sugar and insulin resistance in a way that actually makes sense. Drop a comment below and tell me which one of these 3 foods surprised you the most. I'm guessing maybe it's number 3, but let me know. I'll see you in the next one.